Hey Harmonizers, welcome to this video with King, who's my thoroughbred that I'm training for this year's makeover. So in this update, I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff that he's working on, including some counter, canter, and flying lead change exercises. First up, just a little bit of footage of him taking my little nearly 3-year-old for a pony ride. I think doing stuff like this is really good for our horses once they're at the stage where they're ready for it. It helps them to learn to change their energy depending on who's riding them and what's going on. So he's still very much taking guidance from me, but he's also aware that there's a little person up on his back. And it just helps to get him to be a little bit calmer and not quite as responsive, because when I'm riding him, I want him to be pretty responsive and listen to my transitions. And then when a little person or somebody who's more of a beginner gets on, I want him to understand that he can just be patient and be calm and be able to stand and practice. And Evelyn really liked riding him, even though he's quite tall, and she really wanted to trot on him. I wasn't sure how that was going to go because he's such a tall horse and he's got such a big stride, but we did a couple little short bursts of trot so she could feel that, and she actually did pretty good on him. And the neat thing for King is he got to practice trotting for a few strides and then walking again and then standing while I kind of, chatted with my daughter and whatnot. So all of this is really great training. Sometimes we think training always has to be very busy or has to be working on difficult things or progressing towards advanced goals. But this kind of training is really important for horses as well. Just kind of being calm, being patient, having somebody that's not asking you to do a whole lot, being able to shut their energy off and just be really relaxed is great training for horses as well. So even for those performance horses, being able to do stuff like that is just going to be good for their brain and good for them understanding what it is you're asking of them to do. So you can see Evelyn did a couple little trots there, only just a few little strides at a time. And King did really well with being able to pick up that trot and then come down to a halt and be pretty patient. And Evelyn definitely had lots of smiles and found that it was pretty fun and was enjoying her ride on King, which I was pretty surprised about because he's a lot taller than her pony. But she still did really well and enjoyed being on him. So that was super awesome. And he got a lot of time practicing just being patient, because when I am working with him, I definitely do tend to be a bit more of a busybody because I'm thinking about working on the individual tasks that we've got to get to. And so instead, he got to do a lot more of just being patient and just chillaxing. There was this cool arts festival that we went to in between the sessions. So that was kind of a fun thing to go to. You can see Evelyn going through. I'm not really sure what the purpose of all this was, but it was fun to just kind of check out a little bit more of Vermont along the way. I'll just show you guys one more clip before we get into the counter, canter, and flying lead change exercise that we were doing. They also had music going on, which was pretty fun. And so Evelyn thought that was hilarious to run around with all the other kids and people and doing some dancing. Lots of fun times. And then in the arena, we started pulling out some different obstacles, including this culvert, I think is what it's called. So she was playing around on that, and we were getting the horses to walk over and side pass and do all sorts of fun things. So I'm going to show you guys a clip of King starting to work on his counter, canter, and flying lead changes. So with him, I'm trying to do a bit more counter, canter work with him to make sure we have that understanding. So here's starting off on the correct lead here, on the right lead of canter. And he's so leggy, it's kind of fun to work with. So this time he did a little swap lead in the corner and gets a cross canter. So that's not what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to show you how I just slow him down, regroup, and we're just going to try again. I don't want to punish him for trying to attempt that flying lead change when I didn't ask for it. I just want to regroup and say, hey, could we try this again? So I'm just trying to hold a little bit more right bend as we go around. This time he gets it. It's a little tricky because we can't just follow the rail because there's kind of stuff on the rail like obstacles and things. And then after we ride the rail for a little bit and we hold that. Then I ask him to do the flying lead change on purpose, which you can see there he swapped to that left lead really nicely there. So I'm going to bring him down and praise him. And we're just trying to really focus on building that strength with that counter canter and also the awareness for him of when I'm asking for the cue for the lead change. I think it could be pretty cool in our Thoroughbred makeover freestyle to show some more performance move type things, like if we do a counter canter circle and then swap leads to do a canter circle on the correct lead. I think that could be kind of a different thing to do. It's not something that I've done in past makeover freestyles, so I think that would be a good change of things. So now here, starting on the left lead, coming around the corner on a left counter canter, which again, tricky because we're also having to dodge a few things. And then I'm like, oh shoot, that's a little tricky there because we have to turn the corner. But I'm like, okay, maybe I won't be able to ride that counter canter as long as I wanted to because it's kind of hard to turn right while also holding a left lead as he's learning how to do all this. It's a little bit tricky to make those turns. So we're going to try again on a different spot because it was just a little bit tricky there. So setting your horse up for success is really one of the main things you want to think about with all this kind of stuff. So here I'm holding him to the left and he broke stride, and so again he's not in trouble. We're not going to get after him or anything. We're just going to try again. So there he actually got the left lead on the straightaway, which was nice. And then here I end up asking for the flying lead change on purpose, knowing that we're going to be kind of using the right turn and getting that lead change there. So that was pretty nice, and kind of thinking about the environment that we were in with all of the stuff that we had to kind of negotiate around and turn around and ask for the flying lead change where it made sense. But we're really starting to build that understanding of when to have that counter canter versus when to have that lead change. So here we're going to go out and we're going to try again. I was asking him to grab me a little canter there. He was a little bit reluctant in the go factor. So we're going to regroup and then we'll try again. So here's our left lead canter. We're coming around on a left lead. It's got a nice rhythm going. And then as we come across, you can see I'm holding the left bend and I'm holding my posture in a left canter, exaggerating a little bit because he's learning, and then do that flying lead change on purpose to the right lead. And now we've got a right bend and a right lead canter. So he did that really, really nicely. And then I want to try going on the other side. So now I'm going to hold the right bend and the right lead canter as we come around, and I'm going to wait. And because it's a little easier to ride that corner, I'll wait until the next one to ask for that flying lead change. So there I asked for the lead change, and it was maybe a stride or two late, but really good progress on that. So he's going to stop and he's going to get a good cookie for that. And I hopped off and just called it a day for that. Another neat thing for King is we had the osteopath come out, and for the most part he was looking pretty good, but she said he thought he would suffered from headaches. So she showed me how to do these ear exercises to kind of keep his ear up and off to the one side, to kind of do these stretches to help the bones in his head move a little bit more. Even though I haven't really noticed anything, I didn't have any training issues with him, but she was coming to the barn to do other horses, and I thought I'd have her work on King. And so now he gets these little ear massagey moves that we do for him to hopefully help him not have headaches. But he seemed to really enjoy that. He looks really at peace there. So that's my little update with King. Here's just a little look at one of the other little spots in Vermont. This was actually at an ice cream shop, which is pretty cool, and had this neat little pond. So if you guys are enjoying our Vermont travels and seeing the updates of the horses.